Welcome to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. I'm your host, Joshua Smith, and tonight we're celebrating apple season in the North Country. Joining with us is Sheila Fabrizio of Windy Ridge Orchard of North Haverhill. She's here to talk to us about what it takes to run an orchard, favorite varieties, fall events, and how local farms keep our traditions alive. And also later we'll be hearing Gary Moore's thoughts on the out of doors. And Mark Breen has your Outdoor Edge weekend forecast from the Fairbanks Museum. We got a jam-packed show, and we're just going to jump right into it. So here we go, folks. We have a very special guest here on the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. We are talking to Sheila Fabrizio from Windy Ridge Orchard. Sheila, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. Thanks for having me today.
Yeah, right here we're smack dab in September, and it's apple season. I know I went by there last week, and your trees are very heavy. They're leaning down. There's lots of apples, and this is your busiest time of year?
Yes, this is definitely the height of the harvest, and the fall foliage is starting to come in. So, yes, this is definitely apple picking season.
So when does apple season officially begin at Windy Ridge Orchard?
For our orchard, we start harvesting usually the second to the third week in August. We have a couple early season varieties that will come in at that time, Paula Reds and Ginger Golds.
Okay, so that was going to be my next question. So what apple varieties do you grow, and which ones you say are the local favorites?
We have about 18 different varieties here at the orchard. Some of those are different variations on Macintosh, which is definitely the regional favorite. We also have Honeycrisp, which a lot of people love. We have Macallans, Cortlands. Those seem to be the ones that our customers are looking for.
Well, and so how do you know when apples are ready to pick then?
The best way to tell is if you cut an apple open and look at the seeds. If they're white, they're not ready to be harvested. If they're brown or starting to turn brown, then they are ripe and good for the picking.
Right. And so can you kind of walk us through a typical harvest day on the orchard?
We get started around 8 o'clock. We have several local pickers who will come in and help us pick the fruit so that we can provide them for our store and also the Littleton Co-op and the Franconia Market. They'll get started picking. We have a couple guys that will drive the tractors around to move the bins so that the pickers can harvest with ease for the most part. It is definitely a physical job. Picking into buckets and then emptying them into a bin. And then we move those into our cold storage. We open the cafe at 10 o'clock, and so we have a crew that comes in and starts making donuts a couple hours early. And so we have some hot, fresh donuts for opening. And then our store crew will open at 10 o'clock as well. And so they're grading and getting the gift shop ready for customers.
And so what are some common myths about apple picking?
One is that all apples come in at the same time. That is definitely, oftentimes when we open for pick your own, they expect all our varieties to be ready. But all our varieties are staggered through early August all the way to the end of September as far as readiness. That's probably the most common one.
I bought a half a peck last week and brought them home, and my wife was asking me, why are these apples so crisp? And there is something to be said about buying local apples as compared to going to the grocery store, and who knows where those apples came from.
Oh, absolutely. And the way, when you're picking them off a tree or getting them at a local farm stand, you're getting them at the height of ripeness and, the perfect texture. Where a lot of times, if you're picking for big wholesale where you are shipping them, the apples have to be picked prematurely. B, they have to be treated with something that will make them stay crisp and ready for the consumer. And so they're treated with something and then they're shipped. So by the time you're getting them in the store, especially if they're coming from South America or New Zealand or even from Washington State, they have been picked and harvested for a number of weeks, if not months. So when you're buying them or picking them at the height of right off the tree, then you know that you're getting them at the peak of their taste as well as their firmness. So definitely the way to go if you can.
Right, and also too is it true like some of those mega corporation stores, they put wax on top of apples too to make them look shiny?
Yep, that is one of the ways that they can retain freshness. There's also another sort of a chemical spray that will that is non-toxic to eat, but it will keep them longer. Because oftentimes big producers will keep them for a year. You know, sometimes when you're getting a Macintosh in a store in July, well, those have been kept for a year.
Wow.
So that is one thing to consider.
And so we're talking to Sheila Fabrizio over at Windy Ridge Orchard, and wanted to talk a little bit about kind of like the orchard history. How long has Windy Ridge Orchard been around?
My parents actually bought this piece of property, this land, 57 years ago.
Wow.
And at that time, it was a dairy farm. My parents thought it over. What did they want to do? Did they want to continue having a dairy farm? Did they want to turn it into a campground or an apple orchard? Those were the three choices. And obviously they chose apple orchard, and they started planting just another year after they had bought the farm. They planted some trees down below the house, and then they just kept expanding and kept adding more trees. So, yeah, 57 years.
Wow.
That it's been in operation.
Do you know in advance when you plant a tree what type of variety of apple it's going to produce?
It depends. If you plant an apple seed, it will not take the properties of its parent apple. So if you plant a seed from a Macintosh apple, you will not grow a Macintosh tree. That is because of cross-pollination that is required for a tree to be able to produce fruit. But how trees are, if you want a Macintosh tree to grow Macintosh apples, it needs to be grafted onto a rootstock.
Okay.
So you can either take your tree and graft on a rootstock from a Macintosh tree or a Cortland tree or a McCowan tree, and that is what you will have. Or, as we do, we buy from a commercial nursery that has done all that grafting. Once we'll buy, 100 Macintosh trees, we'll plant them, and that's what we have there. So, yeah.
And so what makes your orchard unique compared to others in the region?
Oh, I think we all offer something special for our customers. I would say for our orchard, it's we've tried to keep the sort of small family farm atmosphere. We don't have big rides or big entertainment value, but we have the small things. That sort of makes it a personal experience. We have the cafe, which provides lunch and donuts, and then we have a cow train for the kids. We have a playground for the kids. We have some farm animals, and we really want to attract the families that want to just come for a day at the farm. And that's what we've tried to keep that atmosphere at our orchard. It's just sort of a beautiful spot with a great view, and just come and spend the day and have some good quality time with your family.
And so then how do you balance like traditional with modern farming techniques?
Oh, that's a good question. I think with knowing what the customers want is one of the things. We could go out and we could, pick all our apples and then sell them all to the grocery store, and then we have more control over the harvest and over the orchard itself. But we have chosen instead to focus on pick your own. Let customers come in and experience that. And for us, we found that that works really well, especially now in this, in the economy where it's kind of hard to find people who want to come and pick commercially. So it works for us, and we just sort of have to find out what our customers want. I think that's any business, find out what they want and try and provide to the best of our ability.
Right. All right, we're going to take a quick break, and when we get back, we'll continue our conversation with Sheila Fabrizio of Windy Richard Orchard, and we'll be talking some more behind-the-scenes orchard life and some fall activities. So stay tuned.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
The Autosaver Group's St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram asks, do your outdoor adventures take you to where you wish you had a four-wheel drive or all-wheel drive? At St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram, explore their vast inventory of adventure-savvy four-wheel drives and all-wheel drive vehicles, ready for you to drive at home. Plus, every St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram deal includes the Big Deal Plus, which is a 2-year unlimited scheduled maintenance plan, which includes free state inspections for life. Stop in today in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, or shop St. Johnsbury Chrysler Jeep Dodge Ram online at stjohnsburycdjr.com.
You don't have to go far to find some fishing fun in Vermont, and this beloved summer pastime offers many benefits. Spend time with family and friends, explore new places, enjoy the outdoors, and maybe even catch some dinner. The Vermont Fish and Wildlife website offers resources to help. You can watch fishing videos to learn how, register for a free fishing clinic, or find a public access area near you at vtfishandwildlife.com. Vermont Fish and Wildlife invites you to fish Vermont.
Steve Batchelder, one of your local fire wardens. Folks, we're in high fire danger right now due to the dry weather. Grass, leaves, and wood can catch quickly, so burning of any kind should be avoided. A single ember can spread faster than you think. Please use caution with grills, machinery, and vehicles in grassy areas. Your care today helps keep our neighbors' homes and forests safe. If you see smoke where it shouldn't be, call it in. Let's all do our part to protect the land we love.
All right, we're back. Welcome back to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge, and today we're talking to Sheila Fabrizio of Windy Ridge Orchard, and we're talking all things apples. And before the break, we were talking a little bit about some specific things about apple seasons and some of the basics of orchard life and just the history of Windy Ridge Orchard. And now we're going to talk a little bit about some of the behind-the-scenes pieces of orchard life. What's something most people don't realize about running an orchard?
Primarily, it's that it takes a year to grow the apples. We oftentimes people will ask, well, what do you do in the off season? Well, there's still a lot to do for an orchard between pruning all the trees in the wintertime, picking up, all the wood that has come off the trees, mowing, maintaining the orchard basically year round. It is, they're not as labor intensive as, say, farming with cows or animals. But it is a labor of love, and it's a year round labor to be able to maintain the trees and make sure that the trees are healthy and that we have a good harvest. And probably the other thing, too, is how weather dependent our business is, any farming is. And this year we certainly feel it with the drought conditions. But thank a farmer, because we have to deal with different weather conditions every single year, and it can make or break our business. What would you say are some of the biggest challenges during harvest season then? Definitely weather is the biggest challenge. Each crop is different. This year, with the lack of rain, we have to be very vigilant in that the apples will not hang on the trees as well as they will other years. When it's dry, the apples lose. The trees are like, let's get rid of the fruit. I want to take care of myself. And there's not enough water right now, so they don't hold on to the apples quite as well as they do in a good weather year. So we have to be vigilant about that and make sure we get the fruit off the trees if we can. in a timely fashion.
Okay.
And also, for pick your own, if it rains every weekend, we've lost our business. So at the same time that we want rain, we don't want it on the weekends.
So do you host like school groups or field trips?
Yeah, we do have quite a number of schools that will come up and spend a morning or an afternoon. They'll come and pick and play on the playgrounds, walk our nature trails. We also have a story trail. So yes, we have lots of kids that come up to enjoy the orchard, which we love, because then we love when they bring back their parents and they'll show their parents, give them the tour of the orchard. So it's great.
Right. And also too, you don't want to show up at the orchard on a full stomach.
No, please don't. We've got plenty to fill.
Right. So tell us a little bit about your like cider donuts and pies and other fall treats.
Sure. I started that. That was sort of my parents were running the orchard, and I came back in 2004 and wanted my own little niche. So I started the donuts in the cafe. And so we make donuts daily. We make a lot of donuts on the weekends. And so we provide those. We have homemade apple crisp. We have apple pie. And then we make our sandwiches. So we provide lunch and bakery goods from 10 to 3 each day.
Wow. And that was going to be my next question for you too, is like, what role does Windy Ridge play in, say, the regional agritourism?
When I think about the Connecticut River Valley, it is it's just a beautiful, beautiful location that we live in. And the agriculture in the area is what makes it really special. And we get a lot of tourists coming over from the Lincoln area, which is the White Mountains, another obviously beautiful region of New Hampshire. But for them to come over and to see the river valley in its beauty, but also to experience all the agricultural products, whether it's from hatchling milk and ice cream and Four Corners Farm produce, and people are just it's a glimpse into another sort of world of where our food comes from, and to be able to see it just driving along Route 10 or Route 5, to be able to see all that produce. And so it's great. I love having people come over and just see the food being produced, and for them to be able to enjoy a day on a farm. And that is pretty special for a lot of families that come to visit New Hampshire and Vermont, but also the people who live locally, to be able to come and see food and see a farm in a working farm. It's part of the part that we get a lot of joy out of when families really take notice and appreciate that.
So then what would you say to someone who's never visited a local orchard before?
And say, come and plan to spend the day. Go walk around the orchard, see nature in action, and walk the trails and just see how everything works together. We have a 5-acre field in the back where we just grow wildflowers. Wow. We just let whatever nature wants to give us at different times of the growing season, different flowers, and I can go out into that field and there are 20 different flowers at a time that are just growing naturally. And one of the reasons why we do that is to encourage native pollinators, because we don't rent bees in our orchard. We just rely on native pollinators. So we want to be able to create environments for them. And so there's just sort of that symbiotic relationship between, it's not just about growing fruit, it's being able to support the orchard through other actions. And if you go walk around, see all the native plants, walk through the woods, realize that, we have fencing because we don't want to fear having deer around. We love seeing our deer. We just don't want them in the orchard. So we put up fencing. And we have a lot of wildlife in the area, and just being able to witness all of it is what I encourage customers to come and do, see it as a whole. So
And so Sheila, if people want to learn more about Windy Ridge Orchard or visit, how can they reach Windy Ridge Orchard?
Yep, we have a website, windyridgeorchard.com, and then we are located on Benton Road, also known as State Route 116. And please come and visit. We're open this year. We're open. We were opened in August, mid-August, and we will be open through October 13th. So, which is the Indigenous Day, Columbus Day weekend, holiday weekend.
Excellent. All right. Thank you so much. We've been talking to Sheila Fabrizio over at Windy Ridge Orchard. And Sheila, thank you so much for your time. I've learned a lot about apples.
Well, thanks, Josh, for having us. I appreciate it.
And that was my conversation that I had with Sheila Fabrizio from Windy Ridge Orchard. So still ahead, Gary Moore returns with his thoughts on the outdoors. This week, his outdoor reflections, and the news is his outdoor reflections. And he has also news on New Hampshire and Vermont hunting regulations for September and what to watch out for outside in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. It's coming right up after this break.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
Hi, this is Jay Davis, co-founder of NortheastKingdomOnline.com. As Northern New England's leading digital marketing agency, we will help your business harness the power of SEO, social media, and beyond to enhance your online presence. Your customers are looking for you. Work with our team of marketers to build a complete online marketing strategy. Visit NortheastKingdomOnline.com to see how we can heighten your brand. Achieve more with NortheastKingdomOnline.com.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
You don't have to go far to find some fishing fun in Vermont, and this beloved summer pastime offers many benefits. Spend time with family and friends, explore new places, enjoy the outdoors, and maybe even catch some dinner. The Vermont Fish and Wildlife website offers resources to help. You can watch fishing videos to learn how, register for a free fishing clinic, or find a public access area near you at vtfishandwildlife.com. Vermont Fish and Wildlife invites you to fish Vermont.
Need to rescue your fescue, maybe your bluegrass? We're talking late summer lawn repair next on the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. With more practical tips and useful advice, this is the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report for Thursday, September 18th, the 261st day of the year. Screen legend Greta Garbo was born on this day, and in 1947, Carnegie Hall hosted its first country music concert. It featured Roy Acuff and Ernest Tubb. If the summer of 2025 has left your lawn worse for the wear, here's some good news. The best time for renovation is right about now. Cool season grasses started now will develop strong roots before the dormant season, and it's a good time to open a new front in the battle with weeds. They're busily sending energy to their roots, making them most vulnerable to weed control products. You'll also get more bang for your buck when fertilizing in the fall. Experts recommend a succession of treatments in early and late fall for a quick green up next spring. That's the Old Farmer's Almanac Radio Report. Find more lawn and garden tips at almanac.com.
Good evening. Welcome to Thoughts on the Outdoors. As regular listeners to this program or to who read my column know, I'm an avid hiker as well as a dedicated hunter. This is a time of year when both hunters and hikers are in the woods at the same time and need to watch out for each other. One of the things that New Hampshire Fish and Game has recommended is a bunch of tips about how to stay safe if you're a hiker in the woods during hunting season. They say pick the right trail. Makes perfect sense. During the fall, stick to established hiking trails. Simple reason? We hunters generally avoid heavily traveled hiking paths because the activity in the woods tends to scare game away. As a result, hunters will be situated far deeper in the woods normally. Pick the right time. Wildlife and hunters are most active at dawn and dusk. Legal hunting times for most game run from a half hour before sunrise to a half hour after sunset in both New Hampshire and Vermont. Wildlife, and therefore hunters, are most active at dawn and dusk. Why not take your hikes midday, say after 9 and before 3, when light conditions are very good? It's easiest for you to see the trail and easiest for you to be seen. You're much likely less apt to run into a hunter during that time. And of course, most of all, wear some hunter orange. An orange hat, an orange vest, or a shirt. You should have that when you're in the woods this time of year, whether you're a hunter or a hiker. This will make you more visible to anyone in the woods. And don't forget, if you take your dog with you, have some hunter orange on them, that blaze orange. Linda and I have vests for our St. Bernard and Newfoundland both. You know, the last thing we want is to have one of our dogs get shot because someone mistakes them for some other species. For instance, our Newfoundland certainly would look like a bear if you just saw it going through the brush. And our St. Bernard is the same color and size of a deer. So anyways, not only should you protect yourself, but protect your dogs. Another tip worth mentioning is if you're going to be in the woods with a dog, have a bell on their collar. Again, that's to let people know that it's a dog, not a wild animal. This is the time of year, September and October, when there are a lot of conflicting seasons. Those of us who are hunters have trouble sometimes deciding what species we're going to hunt at any given time. So I've decided to mention many of the things that are open right now for those of you who don't happen to hunt or hunt other species, so you know why you might encounter a hunter. New Hampshire's youth waterfowl season, by the way, is coming right up. It'll be held Saturday and Sunday, September 27th and 28th. Now, this is a great opportunity for youth who are age 15 or younger to get out and hunt waterfowl. They must be accompanied by a properly licensed adult age 18 or older. Keep in mind, adult hunters must possess a regular New Hampshire hunting license, a New Hampshire migratory water license, a federal duck stamp, and an HIP permit number. The mentoring adult may not hunt waterfowl. The youth hunter, by the way, is not required to have a hunting license, duck stamp, or HIP permit. So this is a good chance to take youth out and teach them to hunt waterfowl. While I'm talking about youth hunts, New Hampshire's youth pheasant hunting season is the same weekend, September 27 to 28. Again, they must be age 15 or younger, and it must be accompanied by a properly licensed adult age 18 or older. The adult must possess a hunting license and so forth, and, oh, by the way, a pheasant permit, and they cannot carry a firearm. The adults who are guiding the young people may accompany no more than 2 youths. Again, another chance. The regular New Hampshire pheasant hunting season opens on October 1st. And there are several places where they release pheasants across the river in New Hampshire within sound of my voice. While I'm talking hunting, the fall turkey hunting season in New Hampshire opened Monday of this week, September 15th, for bow hunters, and runs October 13th to 19th for shotgun hunters in the designated wildlife management areas. I won't go into the wildlife management units where the individual limits are, but you can look them up in the digest or go online. One thing that's good this year is that if you do take a turkey in New Hampshire, you can register your bird in person at a check station, or you can do it online. While I'm still on New Hampshire, if you're a teacher or head of a club or some organization, keep in mind that a good way to raise funds is to sell the 2026 New Hampshire Wildlife Calendar. It's been a good fundraiser for schools and clubs and other groups, and it helps raise money to support New Hampshire Fish and Game's conserving efforts as far as wildlife and wild places. The calendar has all the seasons listed on it and has wonderful photography. I get one every year. If you're interested, contact New Hampshire Fish and Game. And with that, I'll once again pause for a break.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
So where's the big deal?
Holy shmoly, it's Matt LeCuyer at the Auto Saver Group, St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The Drive into Fall sales event is happening right now in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and we're dropping prices like never before. All 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Bighorn models are jaw-dropping 20% off MSRP. That's up to $16,392 off on these trucks. Check out this deal. Lease a 2025 Ram 1500 Tradesman Crew Cab for just $499 per month for 42 months with zero down. No games, no gimmicks, just real savings on real trucks. But hurry, with deals this hot, they won't last long. Come see us at St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, located on Memorial Drive in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, just past the railroad tracks, or online at stjohnsburycdjr.com. St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Vermont comes to drive.
Stock number SJR 25185. Leases for 10,000 miles per year, 35,000 total miles. 30 cents per mile over. Tax title registration extra. Must have Stellantis brand lease or non-Stellantis brand vehicle registered in household to qualify. First payment due at signing. MSRP is a price set by the manufacturer and does not necessarily reflect the price paid by consumers.
This is Steve Batchelor from Batchelor Carpentry in Groton. We're at vtcarpenter.com. I'm here to tell you about the Groton Fall Foliage Lumberjack Breakfast, happening Saturday, October 4th at the Groton Methodist Church, starting at 7:30 a.m. till 9:30. A hearty meal of pancakes, home fries, sausage, and more, served up with hometown pride and good company. It's a festival tradition you won't want to miss.
Outdoor Almanac with Peter St. James. Brought to you by New Hampshire Fish and Game's Wildlife Journal.
Recently, I came across a great story in a book titled New Hampshire's Political Troubadour. It's a compilation of information from the library and archives of New Hampshire's political tradition. The political library is housed in the State Library. One of the brief stories in the 112-page booklet is from Ware. It seems that fish and game wardens were first chosen at Ware in 1881. The town voted to protect trout and other fish for 3 years. In 1883, the wardens were instructed to carry out the fish and game laws to the letter, also to allow the removing of pickerel from Duck Pond for the purpose of introducing German carp. But in 1884, the town passed the following unique vote, quote, voted that the fish and game warden be instructed to stay at home, unquote. Town politics. Makes you wonder, doesn't it? There must have been some prosecutions, however, because according to the records you'll find, the town paid in 1885 $11.94 for counsel of fish cases. Well, the good news is today's conservation officers aren't subject to the whims of selectmen or town meetings, and that the law enforcement division has evolved into a highly trained team of professionals that do everything from checking licenses, monitoring fish and wildlife harvests, and overseeing OHRV usage, to heading up search and rescue efforts from mountaintops to under the water. It may seem like a romantic job, but when it's 10 below and snowing and they have to be outside, I think it's safe to say romance goes out the window.
Outdoor Almanac is brought to you by New Hampshire Fish and Game's Wildlife Journal, the magazine for people with outside interests.
Welcome back. Pretty well covered New Hampshire. Now let's turn to Vermont. One thing that I really appreciate is that the legislature in this last session had increased the penalties for poaching. They doubled the fines in most cases, and they're now in effect as a result of Act 47. Poachers who illegally shoot deer, bear, moose, or wild turkey now face higher fines and jail sentences. The maximum fines have doubled from $1,000 to $2,000, with a potential jail sentence of up to 60 days for the first offense. A second offense now brings a maximum fine of $5,000 and a potential jail sentence of up to 180 days. Keep that in mind if you think you want to go out and ride around with a spotlight and a gun at night. The same penalties also now apply for possessing, transporting, buying, or selling big game, violations of the threatened or endangered species laws, interference with hunting, fishing, and trapping, and all illegal commercial importation or possession of wild animals. As you likely know, you heard last week, or the last 2 weeks ago, from Butch Spear from the Bear Hound Association, that bear hunting is open in both states. It opened September 1st. Here in Vermont, it runs through November 14th this year. It's legal to take a bear that has been collared for a study. If you do, however, hunters are asked to contact the department and to treat the GPS collars with care until they can be returned to a state biologist. Hunters are reminded to pay close attention before taking a shot to avoid killing a bear accompanied by cubs. I would point out that 2 weeks from now, my guest on this program will be Jackie Como. Jackie Como is the Bear Project leader for Vermont, and she'll be talking about this program I just alluded to, where they're putting collars on bears and following them, and we'll be going into the dens in the winter to track on them. Anyways, this is what Jackie had to say. We asked the hunting community to keep up their good track record of bringing harvested bears to a biological checking station and sending in a tooth sample from their harvest for the analysis as it's required by law. Hunters' support is essential for us to keep building our population model on good data. By the same token, in the unlikely event that a hunter harvests one of the bears collared for this study, will depend on that hunter's cooperation to retrieve the bear's collar and the data it contains. For those that are interested, one of the reasons they ask for a tooth, the first premolar, is you section a tooth and it has growth rings just like the rings on a tree. That's very important for fish and wildlife biologists to understand the age of the bears that are taken, so they have a better understanding of the span of ages. Let's talk about deer hunting. The muzzleloader season antlerless deer permits that so many of you applied for have been awarded. You need just go to the website, look up your name. You can look up your name by name. You can look it up by Wildlife Management Unit. There are several ways to look it up depending on how you applied. In my case, I only applied to J2, so it's pretty simple. But you can find out if you got a permit. If you did, you'll need to reprint your license. As soon as they published the permits and put them on the website, they added that to your license, so you can reprint the license, and there will be a tag for an antlerless permit. The permits were issued for 19 of Vermont's 21 wildlife management units and may only be used during the muzzleloader seasons on October 30th to November 2nd, and again the second season from December 6th to 14th. Within the sound of my voice, I believe all the wildlife management units had permits. In fact, some of those in the Connecticut River Valley are undersubscribed. While we're talking deer, a lot of us are bow hunters, and now crossbows are legal. That's brought a lot more hunters into the archery season. Vermont's archery season is October 1st, coming right up, folks. It goes to November 14th, and again, December 1st to 15th. A hunter may take up to 4 deer in Vermont's 2-part archery season if they do not shoot any deer in the other deer seasons. That's a total of 4 deer. That's a lot of good eating venison. No more than one of the deer taken during an archery season may be a legal buck, if no buck is taken in the other deer seasons. Antlerless deer hunting is allowed during archery season statewide this year. That's a change. Pay attention to the digest or online, because the definition of a legal buck is different depending on the wildlife management unit, okay? In some of the northern units, like up in the Essex County and Orleans County, a legal buck is defined as a buck having one antler 3 inches or more in length. However, in other zones, like here in J2, a legal buck is any deer with at least one antler and 2 or more antler points 1 inch in length or longer. So, you got to pay attention. You don't just shoot because you see an antler. I can tell you specifically, it's sometimes difficult to see the second point that's only an inch or a little over. So, be careful. Also from Vermont, Fish and Wildlife asked me if I'd remind all you listeners out there that the new deer regulations that were approved this year by the legislature do not take effect until 2026. There's been a lot of misunderstanding about that. Hunters are wondering what changes have happened and when they take effect. Next year, several things will be different about what you can shoot and when. Anyways, under the current regulations, antlerless permits can only be used during the muzzleloader antlerless season this year, not any other season where they will be next year. And lastly, from Fish and Wildlife, I should say, this side of the river, Fish and Game on the other. I have trouble keeping them straight sometimes because when I was commissioner, it was Fish and Game in Vermont. Anyways, the last thing I want to mention is for you teachers in the grades or students out there, once again, Vermont Fish and Wildlife is going to accept entries for the Vermont Student Fish Art Contest in partnership with the organization Wildlife Forever. Students in grades K through 12 are asked to select a fish species found in Vermont waters and submit an illustration and one-page creative essay on the species. The essay is not required, however, for those in kindergarten through 3. The winners will be selected, they will receive a prize, and their art will be entered into a selection process to be featured on the department's 2027 Fishing Guide and Regulations publication. It's a good chance for you students to win a prize and see your art distributed widely. Teachers, you can contact Corey Hart at Fish and Wildlife if you're interested in having your students involved. With that, it's time for me to go. I'll see you in 2 weeks. Be safe out there. Enjoy the fall. Get some exercise. If you're a hunter, get out there. Pursue your favorite sport.
It's the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
You said this year you would spend more time outside. You said this year you would get time to enjoy summer. You said this year is the year, just like last year. Don't spend another season scrambling to fill the schedule. Northeast Kingdom Online can help you create a marketing plan that grows your business. A complete plan with a certified marketing manager that will take care of the details so you can focus on bigger things. We offer complete websites, social media, and marketing services to business owners like you. Visit northeastkingdomonline.com today for a free consultation.
The Bridge Weekly's service directory is how small businesses stay visible. For just $7 a week, you get a 30-word ad in a full-color, locally mailed newspaper that lands in thousands of homes across the region. It's perfect for landscapers, tutors, mechanics, and more. Stay top of mind and remind your neighbors who they can count on. Support local and let us support you. Learn more or sign up today at thebridgeweekly.com.
The Jazzy's Children Fund's 12th annual quarter auction will be held on Saturday, September 20th at Blue Mountain Union School in Wells River. Doors open at 12:30. Auction starts at 1, $5 per paddle. Door prizes, 50-50 raffle, hundreds of auction items, lunch and snacks by donation.
What's going on? Community events in the listening area is brought to you by Wells River Savings, your good neighbor bank. They hope you choose to eat local, shop local, and bank local to help keep our communities strong.
The South Reigate Presbyterian Church is hosting a chicken pie supper on Saturday, September 20th, starting at 5 p.m. Adults are $15, kids are just $8. Advance tickets are suggested. Contact Cindy at 802-584-3238 for more info.
The 28th annual Cross Vermont Trail Fall Foliage Bicycle Ride happens Saturday, September 27th, beginning at 9:30 in the morning at the ball field in South Reigate. Sponsored by the Cross Vermont Trail Association and Newbury Conservation Commission.
Welcome back to the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge, your outdoor show for everything in Northeast Vermont and Northwest New Hampshire. And that was a great conversation that Gary shared with us. And I had a great time also talking with Sheila Fabrizio earlier. And one of the things that we added into the break, it was the drought warning that was from one of our local fire wardens, and it is still in place. And you're looking at the extended forecast, and it's still going to be dry. And according right now to the U.S. Drought Monitor, everywhere in our listening area is under severe drought, and a little south to us in southern Grafton County is actually listed under extreme drought. So keep that in mind when you're out and about, and just be careful out there, making sure that you're not creating any sparks or anything like that. One thing that we are now in September, and going into it'll be October, we're going to be full bore into hunting season. And one of the things that we're going to bring back again, than we did last year, is that we'll be checking into some of the weight stations. And we've expanded out from what we did last year. Last year we were reporting out from the West Barnett store, and also we were reporting from the Upper Valley Grill. This year, we're going to be doing the West Barnett Store, Upper Valley Grill, and we're also adding the Swiftwater Way Station, and we're also adding the Newberry Village Store to our reports. So for those that are planning on going out and hunting, yes, I know last year we talked to Rebecca Fuda, and we also talked to some of the game wardens that were here in Vermont, and they did mention that it is easy to register online. There's ways to report deer online, but it's also really fun to go to these weight stations and actually and see how it is there and get your name on the list, and that's always fun to be a part of that. And so we are looking forward to expanding out our weight stations to 4 locations now. And if you know of another location that's within our listening area that is interested in also being a part of the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge reporting, let us know. And you can let us know at our phone number, which is 802-757-2773, or email us at studio@wykr.com, and we'll be more than happy to add them to our reporting lists. And then what we're going to do now is up next, we do have Mark Breen, does have your Outdoor Edge weekend forecast from the Fairbanks Museum, and he was going to give us a little more in-depth on what we can expect with the rain, and we'll find out also too if it's going to be the perfect weekend to head to the orchard or go out and do some hunting. So stay tuned for that. It's coming up right after this break.
It's a St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge on YKR Country.
So where's the big deal?
Holy schmoly, it's Matt LeKire from the Auto Saver Group, St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram. The Drive into Fall sales event is happening right now in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, and it's time to take on every road in legendary Jeep style. Only at St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, is where you can lease a brand new 2025 Jeep Grand Cherokee Laredo for just $449 per month for 36 months with zero down. That's right, zero money down, just pure adventure ahead in one of the most capable, comfortable SUVs on the market. Whether you're commuting through the Northeast Kingdom or escaping to the mountains, the Grand Cherokee delivers power, technology, and luxury that stands out. But don't wait, deals like this won't last long and inventory is moving fast. Come see us at St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, located on Memorial Drive in St. Johnsbury, Vermont, just past the railroad tracks, or online at stjohnsburycdjr.com. St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram, where Vermont comes to drive.
Stock number SJJ 25109. Leases for 10,000 miles per year, 30,000 total miles, 30 cents per mile over. Tax title registration extra. Must have current Stellantis brand lease or non-Stellantis brand vehicle registered in household to qualify. First payment due at signing.
At R&L Archery, we know it's not just about the thrill of the hunt or the size of the fish. It's about the moments that matter most, the traditions passed down from one generation to the next, and the stories told by the fire long after the sun is set. It's about the journey, the memories, and the time spent together with friends and family, because these are the moments that truly last a lifetime. R&L Archery, where every adventure begins. Come create your story.
You don't have to go far to find some fishing fun in Vermont, and this beloved summer pastime offers many benefits. Spend time with family and friends, explore new places, enjoy the outdoors, and maybe even catch some dinner. The Vermont Fish and Wildlife website offers resources to help. You can watch fishing videos to learn how, register for a free fishing clinic, or find a public access area near you at vtfishandwildlife.com. Vermont Fish and Wildlife invites you to fish Vermont.
Your business card belongs in our newspaper. The Bridge Weekly's Business Card Directory gives your business weekly exposure for just $24 a week. Trusted by locals, seen by thousands. Get started today at thebridgeweekly.com. That's thebridgeweekly.com.
There's a new local favorite in the Bridge Weekly, and it's called The Paper Plate. This full-color section highlights the best bites in our region, from cozy diners and roadside barbecues to sugar houses, farmers markets, and everything in between. For just a few bucks a week, you can promote your business to thousands of readers who live, work, and eat right here. Share your specials, events, or seasonal dishes. This is your place to shine. The Paper Plate helps neighbors support neighbors, one meal at a time. Get on the plate today at thebridgeweekly.com.
From the Fairbanks Museum in St. Johnsbury, I'm Mark Breen with your Outdoor Edge forecast. Drought conditions persist through the region, which can certainly impact your outdoor plans. You won't have too many days affected by rain, which normally would be a good thing. However, rivers and streams are running very low. This means any activities on the water have become challenging and in some cases dangerous because the low water levels are exposing objects that could be an issue of safety as well as damage. Extra caution is urged through the next several weeks. Another situation related to the dry conditions, temperatures tending to warm up more during the day but also fall lower at night. That becomes a factor this weekend as a cold front sweeps through Friday, introducing the chilliest weather we've seen since last spring, scattered to possibly widespread frost expected Friday night into Saturday morning, and perhaps even a few degrees colder Saturday night into Sunday morning. Gardeners will likely have to cover up those sensitive plants, and those with outdoor plans on either morning should dig out their warmer jackets and sweaters with temperatures only in the upper 20s and 30s. Should you be thinking about a campfire, keep in mind that our drought conditions increase the potential for wildfires. Dry vegetation on any breezy, sunny afternoon could easily ignite and result in fire that would spread quickly and get out of control. The days continue to get shorter. Monday is the autumnal equinox, and that means sunrises and sunsets will be close to 6:40 this weekend, and then by next weekend, the sun won't rise until 6:45, the sun setting before 6:30. After the chilly weather this weekend, milder temperatures next week will come with a few chances of some rain or showers, the first about Tuesday or Wednesday, another toward next weekend. The drought conditions will limit these systems, though, so we don't expect any improvement in the drought through the rest of this month. Let's take a look at your forecast details, starting with tonight, fair skies, and then some increasing clouds, upper 40s and low 50s. For Friday, clouds giving way to increasing sun, a bit breezy and much cooler, highs tomorrow only in the 60s. Friday night becoming clear and cold, patches of valley fog, lows in the 30s, near 30 in the cold spots, scattered frost. Saturday, any early fog burning off to sunshine, mixed with a few afternoon clouds, continued chilly, highs only in the low 60s, so that Saturday night, a clear, chilly night, areas of fog and frost, lows in the 30s, upper 20s in the cold spots, and Sunday, mostly sunny, not quite so cool, climbing to near 70 by the afternoon. That's your Outdoor Edge forecast. I'm Fairbanks Museum meteorologist Mark Breen. Good luck and enjoy the great outdoors.
That's it for this edition of the St. Johnsbury Chrysler Dodge Jeep Rams Outdoor Edge. A big thank you to Sheila Fabrizio of Windy Ridge Orchard for joining us to celebrate the season and share her insights on the local apple harvest. And also, as always, a heartfelt thank you to Gary Moore for his thoughtful perspective on thoughts on the out of doors, and to Mark Breen for keeping us weather-wise with the Outdoor Edge weekend forecast. Don't forget, if you missed any part of the show or want to listen again, you can find this episode on demand at WYKR.com or on the WYKR app, or wherever you get your podcasts. And remember, Outdoor Edge airs live the first and third Thursdays of each month at 6 p.m. Until next time, stay safe, enjoy the outdoors, and we'll catch you down the trail.